the reality, and I think a lot of lawyers and people in business just don't actually get this. If you start a website or you open a website, it's not enough. Like, people will not find you unless you're marketing.
Okay, peeps, I want to welcome Caralee Fontanele to the Savvy Lawyers show. Welcome, Caralee.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Fab to have you here. Now, Caralee is the owner of Collective Family Law, which, as the name suggests, is a family law firm. And Caralee is based in the Gold Coast in Australia. And so we're going to hear all about her law firm and all the fabulous and innovative things that they do at Collective Family Law. So, first question, Caralee, is can you please tell me a bit about your firm's mission and vision?
So our mission really is to help families or people going through separation through the divorce process as quickly and amicably as possible. Of course, that's not always possible, but that's our goal anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we try to keep people out of court and really to resolve it as fast as they can, because the limbo period of separation is probably the worst time in your life. So, and often, you know, the most expensive as well for people who haven't ever been to a lawyer or been through a legal process. So really, we want to get them through that process as fast as we can. And then also my other mission really is to provide a working environment that's different from other law firms, you know, where we have, you know, work from home, and I don't like people working, you know, more than the hours they're meant to work. And so just, you know, creating an environment where it's sort of different from traditional law. Because that doesn't sound like fun to me at all.
No, I agree. And so I can imagine to do that, you sort of need to bring your personal values into work, and you've I'm sure created core values. So can you tell me a bit about what the firm's core values are? So
our core values are to have integrity, which obviously is, I think, so important in any business, but particularly in the business of running a law firm. I also have the value of having fun. So I love to have fun. It's one of my personal core values, and I don't want to turn up to work somewhere every day that is boring and I'm working with people I don't like. You know, I want to work with fun people and bring fun into our work. And I know that kind of seems like it might clash with family law because it's not fun, but I also think it's so important for our mental health and well-being to have a fun aspect of our working life, because what we do is quite hard and serious. So yeah, bringing fun in, having a growth mindset. So being open to change and doing things differently and exploring other avenues, whether that's through the law and helping clients and how we help clients, or through the way we run the firm. So those are some of our core values.
And how do you get your team sort of excited and motivated and inspired by your mission and your vision and your core values?
Well, as you know, when you're working hard, you can get quite bogged down in the day-to-day. So we do try and go out of the office and we run events for our team. So a team retreat, we do that annually, although it got canned this year because of COVID. So that's frustrating. We haven't been able to get it back on foot. But really, you know, and then doing that sort of work around things like values and what kind of, you know, firm do we want to be? And as the team changes, because inevitably over a long period of time it does, being able to kind of bring the individuals into that themselves, and then, you know, creating and bringing their own values into. So, and the more we do that, the more I find that the team aligns and, you know, is better. Yeah.
And so can you tell me about the size of your team and what roles you have?
Okay, so we have a team of 14 currently. So we have the solicitors, and we try and have more senior solicitors, because I do like to be able to offer, you know, work from home and that sort of thing. So that doesn't particularly work if you have quite a junior team. because you need to, have that supervision. And if your seniors are working from home and then the juniors are in office, it's just a little harder to manage.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have a more experienced team, I would say, of solicitors.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of do, we don't have a lot of admin, secretarial work going on. The lawyers generally do their own admin,
Mm-hmm.
but we have a lower billable expectation to allow for that as well. So we've got an accounts manager, an office manager, that's the same person. We have a receptionist and a clerk.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a PA who helps me with like all the sort of back end stuff and like social media,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing, some of my own. And we've also got a couple of people in the Philippines who help us with back end.
Mm-hmm. And are they VAs?
Yeah, well, you could call them VAs, but they specialize. So one specialist in SEO and all that sort of web stuff, which is just really helpful to have your own person on your team doing that. Because then you're not waiting, because often with anything like that, you're waiting for the expert to get back to you and you're like one of 20 clients. I'm her only client, so she's full-time with us. And we've got graphic design as well that helps with social media and any sort of graphics that we put out.
Right. And can you tell me, what is your firm's average monthly revenue?
So we're at about just under 200 or around 200 currently. My goal is to be at the $3 million a year mark. And so we're sort of working towards that.
Yeah. So at about 200K per month, so that's about 2.4 million annual, and looking to get to 3 million. What's your time frame for that?
I would like it to be, it won't be this year, but I'd like it to be the year after.
Yeah.
We can do that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be amazing.
Yeah,
fabulous.
It's just, there are challenges because it's sort of, growing a team. I thought we'd sort of get closer this last year, but with COVID, I think everything got put on the back burner a little bit, with team moving and, the juggling of the new way of doing things. So hopefully by not this year, which will be June, but the one after.
Yeah. And what's your profit margin on that?
About 28%. So again, always trying to improve that, but I think that's pretty good. And you find that as you grow, it gets less. As well as because like now my wages is over $1 million. And do you pay, like, in terms of how you remunerate yourself, do you pay yourself a salary? Like, do you pay yourself through the payroll as well as taking a draw? I do. So I didn't always do that initially. And, business experts say you should always pay yourself first. And you kind of like, when you're starting out, you're scrambling to just pay bills. And so, and you don't pay yourself first. And as a result, you don't have as much super and, all of that kind of thing. And I think now, like, now I'm making great money, but for years I was not paying myself properly. And so, you make up for it down the track, but it takes a while to get there. So the pay yourself first, I would definitely recommend that people do that, and to pay their super as well. So in Australia, we have superannuation, which is now 10%. So my salary, so I just pay myself a partner's salary. And then obviously you pay yourself super as well. So that's been awesome since I've done that. So you're just on the payroll like everyone else, and then also dividends.
There's something about there's something mindset wise about going from just kind of drawings and paying yourself when you can to putting yourself on the payroll. It's like you're sort of prioritizing yourself, and something about that I just think for me just switched in my mind. And as soon as I did that, I was just like, I don't know, like, felt like I was,
because you do, like, you prioritize your wages, like that's your biggest priority always, is making sure you've got enough income to cover wages. But then you're sitting there working usually longer hours initially than everyone else, and then you're not getting paid as much.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And and just lots of things go with that as well. Like if you're not paying yourself properly, you're not looking after yourself properly, both sort of mentally or physically. Like, yeah, you just kind of.
But it also leads to resentment, because then, like at one stage,
Totally.
I remember paying myself less than paying it one of my, like, say, intermediate lawyers. And it's like, well, her actual pay going through each week was more than mine. And like, that you're also getting dividends as well. But it just, it sort of leads to resentment, but it's only you that's doing that to yourself.
100%. So let's talk about marketing for a sec. So in terms of who is your ideal client? So obviously you deal with people going through separation, but is there a particular type of person that you
so
help?
Our ideal client is it's a male or female, it's not particularly one or the other, who has a property pool of more than $500,000, who's going through a separation. They could be de facto or married, and ideally they would also have a couple of kids as well that need arrangements. So that's our ideal client. They're around 42. And ideally they have the ability to pay as they go. So they might have a business or higher income, versus say someone who less ideally we offer deferred payment, which is a little bit of a risk on our part. So we don't then get paid until a settlement is reached, which might be 10 months or 12 months or longer.
Yes.
So that's our ideal client. Yeah.
And how do you find those clients?
So I have basically 3 funnels set up that work very well. And so one is just organic. So that's all of my, social media, web, being on front page of Google, all of that kind of thing. I then have paid ads, and I focus my paid ad attention mostly on Google ads. And because they're people who need now. And so that, they're people who hop on Google and think, oh, I really need a family lawyer, and I need one now. I need to make an appointment this week. So Google ads, and then also referrals. And I have a referral network, but I work really intentionally. It's not just like a word of mouth random referral funnel.
So how do you work intentionally with your referrals?
I set intentions in terms of how many people do I want to get to know this year. So I do it sort of annually. Who do I want to get to know this year? Who do I want to create a relationship with? And so previously I started small, because it takes a little bit of courage to make contact with people and all of that type of thing. And so it started at a BNI, and then just going for coffees one-on-one. And then it sort of grew to me sponsoring breakfasts or tables. And then you invite people to tables and events. And then I've sort of started in the last few years being even braver and sort of hosting my own larger events. So
I've seen you doing that on social media.
Yeah.
And they always look fabulous. And I'm just like, I wish I could be there drinking champagne with Caralee and all her fabulous.
It wasn't
referrals.
A lockdown. You could come. So I was going to say if you were near, but there's no reason that you can't fly to the Gold Coast for a fabulous day out on a boat, because that's 100%. Been our latest one. So I was doing sponsorship. So you sponsor, and a sponsorship might cost $10,000 a year, and I'd do like a couple of those. Plus then you're inviting to breakfasts and tables and things like that. And it's a great way to reach out to people or to meet people on one occasion and then to grow the relationship. So I'd meet someone out and about, and I'd think that'd be a great person to know, or a great referral source, or they're just fun and I just want to get to know them more. And then kind of just list them and then give that to my PA, so that next time we need to send invites. So I did that for a lot of years. And, when you sponsor, you get a lot of kudos and all of that kind of stuff. But in terms of actually getting work in from the sponsorship, it wasn't really happening. So it was only really good for the referrals by inviting people. So then I thought, let's host beautiful lunches.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And then last year I got an opportunity to get a boat membership on this big fancy boat. And because we're on the Gold Coast and we have a beautiful Broadwater, so I've got this big fancy boat membership, which is probably less expensive than all the sponsorship that I was doing. And everyone wants to come on the boat.
Yeah.
When you have breakfast,
idea.
people are like, and you have to invite 50 people to get 10 people to a breakfast. When you have a boat, you invite 25 people show up.
Yeah, it's special. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. But I love that you're just like, no, fuck it. I'm not sponsoring other people's events. I'm running my own events. And I totally agree with that, and I've experienced that myself. That's why we do a lot of webinars now. Before, well before COVID, we used to sponsor conferences and go into the exhibition hall and set up a stall and collect business cards and that sort of thing. And there were all these rules about what you could and couldn't do at the event. And I was just like, stuff this. I'm going to run my own events and do as I please.
As well,
totally.
It's so expensive. Like, $11,000 to sponsor a breakfast that runs, 8 times a year. Plus you've got to buy tables. Plus you've got to go to a breakfast.
Yeah.
And have some soggy eggs and
and the wine will be crap. And you're like, I'm not proud of this, or
So it's been awesome, but it's taken a long time to get myself, growth in myself to be able to go, fuck it. I'm going to do that and invite people to something like that. And also I think often, the guys are out there, and because I'm a, female director, the men don't have a problem having fun and doing all of those things and, going to golf days and doing all of that. So it's like, why not? And, have something like that myself. Don't wait for someone else to provide it.
Yeah. Yep. Don't wait, create, they say. Yeah, absolutely. So, so just switching back to what you offer in terms of your legal services. So are they online? Are they online legal services, or do you offer some things online and some things more traditionally? What's your offer like?
So our main legal service is a traditional offering, as in we still mostly charge by the hour. I've looked into fixed fees, really detailed, and I'm just still not sure if it's for us. Because I've tried it in terms of I've tried packages and tried to sell packages, and people always kind of think that, oh no, my matter will settle sooner, so I won't go for the package, I'll go for the hourly rate, which we call flexible fees. But we do some fixed fee where we know, like a document or whatever, and we know. And then I have an online program which is for the person who maybe doesn't want a solicitor or can't afford a solicitor, but they want more knowledge than they can get from scouring the internet. Right. So that's an online product called Resolve, and it's aimed at helping people, like teaching them the basics of family law, and we've provided with workbooks and all of that kind of thing, and then also providing them skills on how to negotiate with their ex-partner, and sort of like basic stuff around, how to try and be amicable. And even if you've got someone really difficult on the other side, this is what you can do to make it easier and that type of thing. And then sharing with them how to engage a lawyer if they need to, when they need, what they need to finalize their matter, all of that kind of thing. So it's sort of more like an education program. But again, also selling online services is definitely a different challenge from selling bricks and mortar services.
With the digital product, the the online divorce education that you just talked about. How does that go for you in terms of results?
Yeah, it's good, but it's definitely not like a major component of our revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't there, it wouldn't make a huge amount of impact type of thing. So it's definitely not replacing what we're doing in terms of our traditional service. But like people need the traditional service, and often people the 70% of people that don't retain a lawyer, they're often people who really just don't want to spend any money whatsoever on anything to do with their separation. And it is a huge percentage, something like 70% of people don't retain a lawyer.
Is it? Is it that high?
Yeah, very high.
So what do they do? Just they're just representing themselves?
Yeah, well, some people, I suppose, don't have assets to divide, and they work it out. They go to Relationships Australia, which is a free mediation centre. But yeah, a lot of people don't retain lawyers when they go through a separation.
So it's quite a big market that
yes, it's quite a big market, which is what piqued my interest in providing the service.
And so do you have a funnel that do you have a marketing funnel that sends people to resolve the digital product?
So service-based is so different in terms of marketing. So my marketing funnel with that is sending people first of all to a free guide through, and then to a whole lot of email sequences, which then lead them to that. Because this is the reality, and I think a lot of lawyers and people in business just don't actually get this. If you start a website or you open a website, it's not enough. Like, people will not find you unless you're marketing.
Yeah. Yep. I yes, I know. Yep. That was what happened with me with my first online legal service websites. I spent all this time and money building it, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna get all this growth, and then nobody bought anything for 18 months because I didn't know to drive traffic to the website. Like, I just didn't know.
Yeah. And that's right. People don't know how to drive traffic.
Yeah.
And so with that, we drive traffic through our sort of Facebook ads, which lead to a landing page, which lead to an email sequence, which goes like 30 emails deep over, And so the thing with family law that's different from other service areas is that we're always looking for a new client. If you're a commercial lawyer or, the like, you only need one client and then hope they come back repeatedly over many years to, get help from you. Whereas with what we do, it's a really limited life. So it's only, people are only in that kind of time period for a year to 2 years.
Yes.
So even with collecting people on the email list, it's really only got if they haven't purchased within 6 months, they're not going to.
Yeah. I sort of had that, not to the same extent, but with Legal Beagle, with conveyancing, people are like looking, then they find a house and they buy, and they might stay in their house for, they will come back, but not for a while.
Yeah.
Possibly like your clients, they might come back.
They do. Occasionally they come back.
Maybe not for a while, although sometimes maybe sooner than you think.
Yes, occasionally they do come back. I had one this week who came to me 3 years ago. For a different relationship. Now she's back again for a new one that's separate.
Yes.
So, it does happen.
Do you do the prenups as well?
Yes.
You do. Yeah.
It's not a big area of what we do by any stretch.
Right.
People are very, people, they like the idea of it, but they don't necessarily, one, want to have the hard conversations that you have to have, and two, spend the money on what it costs to get them done.
Yeah. Tech. What tech do you use in your firm?
We use so much tech in terms of all sorts of different platforms that provide, like with the marketing funnels, for example.
What practice management software do you use?
We have Leap, and I've had Leap since 2009. And
what's the verdict?
Well, to be honest, there's been times where I have been so frustrated and I have wanted to quit. The last time I wanted to quit was 3 years ago. All of a sudden, the renewal was like upon us, and I wasn't organized, and it was like, well, really got no choice, just got to keep moving through it. And then so this time, 3 years ago, I said to whoever it was, put it in the diary to get in contact with them like in the January before the November renewal, because if you want to start looking and working out moving, you need to work that out. You know, you need time to do that. And moving would be a very, you know, a large job and costly and all that kind of thing. Anyway, they they wanted to come into our office in October, and I said, no, I'll have you come in June, thank you, so that we can discuss everything. And they did, and I've been actually in the last update, you know, and I mean, it's evolving, it's changing, the customer support changes, people who are, you know, at the helm of different departments change. So I think for now we're happy, and we've re-signed for another 3 years, whatever it is. It's just, you know, like all of those services, very expensive, especially as you get a larger team. So for the next 3 years, it's $90,000.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What about marketing software? What's your favorite?
So marketing software for the online stuff, my favorite, I absolutely love Lead Pages, and Facebook ads, obviously, Canva. So we, you know, use all of that in sequence. And then I have Active Campaign. And so that's a frustration with Leap, is that Leap doesn't integrate with something like Active Campaign, because that would be ideal. We've got a lot of clients that come through for initial appointments, but then if you want to put them into your email sequences, you have to manually add them and things like that, whereas it's excellent if they could come through. We also have LawTap, which I love. We were using a SMS company to text, you know, at your appointments tomorrow or whatever it might be. And then LawTap came along, and it was the same price as what we were doing for the messaging, but it does so much more than that. So I really like LawTap.
Cool.
And so we have that integrated into our calendar. People can book their own appointments online. So yeah, that works really well. What else have we got for marketing? Email, Google Ads. We run obviously Google Ads, and rely on them quite heavily. So
do you run the campaigns in-house, or do you outsource?
I outsource the campaigns, but once they're up and running well, they just sit there.
Yes.
Until they don't.
Yeah.
And then you've got to tweak them around.
Yeah. What would you say is your most effective growth strategy to date?
Most effective growth strategy. I think for me, it's probably really basic, and that is, as a business owner, working on my business and not in it. You know, as soon as a business owner, you're bogged down in servicing clients daily, you're then too busy to actually bring work in, you're overwhelmed, you know, and my business doesn't need me anymore. I don't need to be here. I like to be here. And, you know, I've been most of the morning online looking at bathroom tapware for the renovation I'm doing.
I love it. Did you find some good ones?
Yes. Yeah. Shower, the Ruffins going on Tuesday. So I've been like hunting around town for a diverter. Anyway. So I think the most effective growth strategy really is, as a business owner, to work on your law firm and not in it. As soon as you know, if you want a firm where it's just you serving clients, then, you know, you need to figure out a balance between getting new work in and serving your clients. But if you want to really grow and scale your firm, you need to find a strategy where you have the time to work on rather than in.
And what do you think is the first step to creating the space to work on your business?
The first step to creating the space is to employ someone who can do, help you or take off your plate the servicing work.
Yeah.
And or, creating a working out in your business what you dislike doing, for example, like, bookkeeping or running your accounts yourself or sending invoices. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of that stuff needs to be off your plate. Mm-hmm. So you've got to, so working out what the departments of your business are and then what hats you don't want to be wearing and offload it.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways to do that. So one of the people that's not on my team in-house, but she's a big part of my team as my bookkeeper, mm-hmm. And I mean, I wouldn't even know how to raise an invoice these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why should I know that?
No, well, absolutely. What do you think is your biggest barrier to growing your firm?
Biggest barrier is probably, it's probably getting team members and like the loyalty of team members. I think, you feel like you're on the growth, you've got all the work coming in, and then someone leaves, and it can be sometimes difficult to replace them. Yes. So that, and then it, like, for example, I had an incident where I replaced some people or replaced one, and it was with a false starter, you could call it, where there was lots of issues. Yes. And so that kind of puts you back because it takes time to work out the issues. It takes time to resolve that and then move on from it. But then you've wasted 4 months of the year.
Yes. Yeah.
And gone potentially a little bit backwards before you can go forwards again. So that sort of, that feels like the hardest part is managing, team and the flow of, because people, as you grow, people come and go at unexpected times and things happen. We've got someone away at the moment who's with a relative who's unwell, and they've been away for 3 months, so it affects your growth, because you have to keep your business, you have to keep it the door open for them, and not replace them. But then what do you do with all the work you've got?
Yeah.
So it's that sort of stuff,
Yeah, something I'm really obsessed with at the moment is creating a talent pipeline, so that, as people come and go, and as you grow and need more people, that there's always sort of this pipeline that you can tap into of amazing people. And it's not something I've really had to, finding great talent is, it's a challenge for any business owner. But actually creating a talent pipeline has never really been something on my radar, or that I ever really knew about until more recently. And now I'm just obsessed with creating this. So
yeah, I love that. And I've sort of been working on that too. And the last few people who have come to our firm who have been amazing have come to us, and I've employed them without having the role for them. So that, that you can't rely on that happening. Yeah. And then, so that's sort of the trickiest part, I think. And I think, like you say, it's a challenge for every business. And a lot of people believe, the talent's not out there. It is out there. It's much like dating, I think, it's a numbers game. Yeah. And you've just got to keep an open mind and
not flick into that sort of scarcity mode that
exactly.
I think a lot of law firm owners that I speak to out there, they're just like, there's just no one who's right for us. And I'm like, there is.
Yeah. Or there's not. I used to run a story which was there's no one out there. And as soon as I stopped running that story, I actually found there were plenty of people out there. And it really was that scarcity mode. So it's really flicking that around.
Last question. If there is one thing that you could change about the legal industry, what would it be?
About the legal industry? I think we are changing it, and it might not be everyone as a whole, but just bringing the legal industry and the way we run our legal businesses into the now time zone. And I think it is slowly changing, not with every firm, but I also feel like I've created such a bubble for myself. Like I'll hop on a Facebook group and realize that people are so stuck, and they're still in that, they're still working for firms, or running their files or whatever in the old,
or blaming their clients for their problems.
And it's an old school way of thinking. But I think that more and more people are thinking more like us, and running their firms more like us. But it's happening, but it's not happening everywhere. And I think for me, I've created such a great space around me with the people I associate with, other lawyers, other firms. You sort of attract all of those firms and people into your life, that I sometimes forget how it can be for a lot of lawyers.
Yeah. I think one thing that kind of keeps the legal industry where it is, and Martin Richardson, who I interviewed earlier, mentioned this, is that the rules that regulate lawyers in different parts of Australia and New Zealand as well, keep legal businesses or law firms from keep them operating in quite an old school way. Like, for example, how you can't get somebody to pay up front unless you have a trust account, and how you can't pay a referral fee for getting a referral. There's a lot of things like that. And I know there's a lot of nuance and complexity.
Oh, there is, And that's probably right as well. I've got a senior who's now a partner in my firm, and she has gone to all the effort of doing her practicing principal certificate, because I want to know as well, like, if something happened to me, that everything would be fine, everything could keep running, everyone could keep their jobs, because it's so old-fashioned that if something did happen to me, they basically just come in and close your firm. And so, but she did it, or the certificate, and then we've realized now that she can't actually be a principal. She needs to be a director before she can step in as a principal, which they only changed that rule like 3 years ago.
Right.
So it's just, things like that keep it feeling like old-fashioned, and it's not forward-moving.
Yes, it just stops law firms operating like modern businesses.
And we are businesses just like every other business, and we're no different. And I don't understand why it's like, oh, but we're a law firm.
Yeah, we're special.
Yeah.
Like, we have to be treated specially in this special way. So it'll be interesting to see, how those rules keep up with where modern law firms are heading. But anyway, Caralee, look, thank you so much, and congrats on your amazing success and how well you're doing. It was awesome that you shared your numbers with us. We didn't really get into it today, but I know from interviewing you on past webinars and things, you have an epic story around how you've grown your law firm, which we haven't had a chance to get into, but I might link to a previous webinar that we've done where you've outlined and taken people on the journey through that, and it is pretty epic. Thank you. For people who want to sort of follow you online and go check out what you're doing, can you share how they can find you?
I'm on LinkedIn at Caralee Fontanele, and actually every social media, Instagram and Facebook, Caralee Fontanele, so you can find me there, or my firm is collectivefamilylaw.com.au.
Fabulous. All right. Well, I look forward to the bubble opening so that I can come over and have some bubbles with you on your boat.
Yes, on my boat membership that I have.
On your boat membership. Yeah, really looking forward to that. I'll be one of the 25 people who will definitely attend.
Great. Well, when the borders open, I'll be sure to send an invite.
I look forward to that. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
If there's anything these past months have shown us, it's that the time to make lasting, impactful change in the legal industry is right now. So I want to challenge you to shake things up and create change today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this video with your lawyer friends. See you next week.